dating back to 1702, sits proudly on the banks of the River Rhine, in the heart of Wiesbaden, in Germany. 25 of the world's best combinations, 11 nationalities, but only one winner. This is eventing reinvented. This is the Event Rider Masters.
Welcome back to leg 2 of the Event Rider Masters series here in Wiesbaden as we head into the show jumping phase. This morning was all about the dressage, and my word, the Briebisch Palace made a spectacular backdrop for the first of these 3 phases here in the triathlon of equestrian sport. This afternoon, it is all about the coloured poles and the show jumping, and we've no doubt this jumping stadium, this incredible jumping stadium, is going to provide its very own unique challenge to each of our competitors. And what a lineup they are. We've got the reigning European champion who's leading the field at the moment, Ingrid Klimke, with SAP Hale-Bopp OLD, and of course the reigning Olympic champion and Michael Young in the lineup as well. So settle in for what is going to be an incredible afternoon of show jumping competition here in Wiesbaden. Sam Watson from Echo Ratings joins me with me. And Sam, what an afternoon we have in store.
Yeah, it's quite an arena out there, Nicole. It looks like they've built a very challenging course as well. So we're looking forward to the action. We've got a high-class field, only 25 lining up, but what a high-quality 25 they are. Super standard of dressage this morning. A couple of riders wanted to have some extra marks, as is always the case, I think with riders, but we had 2 spectacular tests. That position of who is going to be leading after this phase, that is something I can't wait to see unfold. 2 superb jumpers, and actually a lot of very good jumpers at the head of the field as well. So it's going to be a test out there, but I think it's going to be high quality jumping.
It's a pretty unique location, this show jumping arena, isn't it?
It is. We've got sort of trees in the middle of the arena and a huge grandstand as well. So I think the event riders will be really wanting to get their teeth into that. It's not every day they get to jump in one of, to be honest, I think one of the nicest arenas on the circuit. I haven't been to Wiesbaden before, but I would love to be jumping in that arena today. It really is spectacular.
Well, we're looking forward to getting it all underway. But it's not just us here in the studio. Let's go out and say a very good afternoon to Hannah.
Yes, Nicole. Well, you and Sam are right. This is quite an arena. This is stadium show jumping at its very best. We're right here, surrounded by the trees of the wonderful Schloss Park. We have got hospitality, we've got spectators, and we've got grandstands. And it is vast in here. You'd think that this arena would be really daunting for the riders, but having spoken to them, they love the space. They love the opportunity to take the turns and take the time that they need, but that presents a whole new challenge. Yes, they have to go clear, but yes, they also have to make the time.
Well, it is certainly going to be influential, the show jumping. But Sam, before we look at the show jumping in a little bit more detail, let's talk about the dressage. Our dressage leader, Ingrid Klimke, she's on a score of 22.2. Wasn't quite the Event Rider Masters record we thought it could be, but it's still an exceptional score. It
was an exceptional score, exceptional performance as well. It does go, it sits 6th in terms of the best test we have ever seen in Event Rider Masters history in terms of the score that they've produced, translating it obviously for the new scoring system. But it was such a treat to see it. They're the reigning European champions. They are one of the favourites for the World Games later in the year. And it was just so technically correct. You could see all of that training that Ingrid does in the background coming through. She was someone who we had as favourites to be up there at the top of the leaderboard. I think what is more interesting and what we didn't expect so much is how close Oliver Townend is.
Well, Ingrid just making her final preparations, walking the course out there. She'll be, I imagine, taking a bit of time, Sam, to make sure she has every single blade of grass, that she knows exactly where she's going.
Yeah, well, she's walking the double now, and riders will be trying to identify where on the course they can make sure they try and get ahead of the clock a little bit. You know, they can't keep their speed the exact same the whole way around the course. They're going to be on related distances sometimes, and they're trying to work out what turns they can do to tighten it up.
Well, we'll be looking forward to all of the show jumping action. The first horse will be due in the arena at 5 p.m. Central European time. But Hannah has been out there and she's had access to one of the rather special places.
Yeah, hi Nicole. Well, I am down in a very, very secret place. This is the stables. Now, access here is normally very tricky. There are 460 horses being stabled here across all the events in Wiesbaden this weekend. These two horses here belong to Bill Levitt. And I'm just going to have a quick word with Poppy, their travelling head girl. Poppy, what are you up to at the moment?
Well, I'm just tacking up Improvise for his show jumping round. He said we're going to get on in about 10 minutes time. So busy, yeah.
How many horses have you got here to look after?
Just the two, Womble and Alfie, and they're good boys. They're very easy to look after, so it makes my job a lot easier.
How long traditionally does it take to get a horse ready for competition with various phases?
Well, I mean, it depends what phase. You know, the dressage takes a long time because you've got so much to do. You've got your platting and just generally making them look beautiful. So that takes a long time. I mean, generally just tacking up is probably, you know, half an hour job, but you can spend more time as you want, really.
Okay, Poppy, thank you. We'll let you get on. There's a lot of activity down here, as you can see, but this is really where the magic happens.
Well, very lucky to get some behind-the-scenes action here in Wiesbaden, as the riders are just making their final preparations out there walking the show jumping track. We'll be turning our attentions in a few moments to that show jumping, but before we do so, let's take a look at that leaderboard, because this is how things stand after the first of the phases. Ingrid Klimke, we alluded to that very, very good test with SAP Hale-Bob OLD 22.2, and she hasn't a fence in hand over second place Oliver Townend and Kilner Braddon Evo, a horse who has 2 Event Rider Masters wins under his belt already. Tim Lips and Biro for the Netherlands are well placed in third, and some other notable tests. Keep an eye out for Julia Krajewski, Samurai Duteau, ranked as one of the best show jumpers in the field, as well as Bill Levitt, Shannondale Titan, who was 6th here 12 months ago. A little bit further on down the field, Sarah Cohen in 12th with Treason. She was a little disappointed with her test. She won here 12 months ago. She's got to climb up the leaderboard to reach that podium, 33.7 for her. But other very good tests from Michael Young, Nicholas Beschkorer as well. And a little disappointment for Ludwig Svennestal, Elkazir SP, some expensive mistakes for him. And also Izzy Taylor, Director General Izzy, on looking to get those series points. So that is the leaderboard as things stand at the moment. And we are very much looking forward to starting with the show jumping, because some 2 poles cover from 6th through to 24th. So we've no doubt that there will be plenty of movement on the leaderboard. Every pole is going to be exceptionally costly. And of course, one time penalty for every second or part second thereof over the time allowed. So we'll be turning our attentions to the show jumping in a few moments, but for now, let's go down to Hannah, who's out on course.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Well, I am with 3 absolute legends here. We're going to turn our attention first to Mr. and Mrs. Price. Janelle, first coming to you. Is it useful having Tim here? Are you guys here as Team Price, or is it all about Janelle?
Well, I think it's all about me, and I'm absolutely here to beat him. But if I'm not going to, then I'd love him to win.
I just saw you guys walking the course together, having a look, having a chat. You've obviously got different length legs, you've got different strides. Is it useful having another pair of eyes?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we know each other inside out. We've been doing it for a few years now. So we sort of know what is helpful and what is not, not helpful. For me, it's probably keeping my mouth quiet sometimes. But I think we're getting it right now.
And does she manage to keep her mouth quiet, Tim? I mean, she just said she tries to.
Oh, yeah, sure she does. No, she's we help each other, I think, at the end of the day. Yeah, like you say, we've got different length legs and a different approach, but we make it work.
And different horses, let's not forget, with very, very different skill sets.
Yeah, every horse is different, and but the good thing is we do know each other's horses very well. So at home every day we see each other. So hopefully that's a bit of an advantage.
Any particular challenge you think in this arena that we're going to see?
Anytime you step into the arena, it's a challenge. It's a big open space. Haven't been here before. It looks, a little bit lower than sometimes in the past, but it's there to be jumped.
Okay, and Julia Krajewski, coming to you. You had a terrific dressage test a little bit earlier today. You've come second here before at Wiesbaden. What are your hopes going into the show jumping?
Well, I've got Samurai Duto with me. He's a really good jumper, and he jumped clear twice before here, I think. So I hope he will do it again today.
What's it like jumping in an arena like this for those people, many whom will never experience something like this?
Well, what's quite special here are the big trees in the arena, so you can kind of get a little bit lost. And then suddenly the horses see the people sitting around and sometimes stop looking at the fence, but rather look at the people. And in the end, it's big fun because we don't get to jump in those arenas very often.
And it's a pretty tight pack, isn't it? I mean, there are some absolute rock stars out there jumping, not to mention the badminton winner standing just behind me.
Absolutely. I think there are lots of really good people here, and like always, it's really tight. And tomorrow also coming up cross country will be really exciting. So I think we all hope to jump clear today and then see tomorrow how it goes.
Okay, well, to all three of you, the sun is shining, the stage is set. We wish you the very best of luck.
Well, we'll take a look at that running order, the reverse order show jumping here in the Event Rider Masters. And Sam, the equi ratings ones to watch.
Well, I think early on is where we could see this show jumping being the most influential, interesting horse there in Azrael. They could produce one of our first clears. And of course, Izzy Taylor and Director General, a fairly new combination, but looking forward to seeing them early on. Now we're into some serious jumpers. Chris Burton, 2 attempts at the CIC 3-star format before, and they show jump clear on both occasions, so I'm expecting them to jump quite well. And then I think Sekatinka is the one I'm looking for. I know Tim can be quick on cross country. They've won a big one before, and they have a good jumping record. And here, the interesting thing about this, Nicole, these horses are top 5. Cloud Dancer, Janelle says she's done a lot of work with it, but the rest of them have a lot of very, very good show jumping form under their belts. And interestingly, Samurai Duto, as Julia mentioned, has had 2 runs in this arena before, jump clear on both occasions. And they're not the only ones, Nicole. SAP Hail Bob OLD has been here before and jumped clear.
So what I'm going to ask you, Sam, is for an equi ratings prediction. How many clear rounds are we going to have over this course?
Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb here because there were only 4 last year, only 15% jumped clear, and it had a reputation for being a really tough track. I've looked at this field in detail. I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna say 7 clears out of 25. It's a lot. It's over 25%, but I think we could see 7 clears today.
7 clears?
Yeah, I've been brave.
Up.
It's going up.
You said 6 a minute ago.
Well, I thought that there would 7 would jump clear and one of them would get a time penalty. So look, we'll see if we're right or not. That's the whole. That's the joy of it.
This space, the equi ratings prediction here in Wiesbaden is for 7 clear rounds. I might come back to you, Sam, a couple of horses in and see if you still stand by that. But first to go will be Katrin Kodum-Hazrati for Austria in 25th position after the first phase. And Katrin comes forward with Cosma, this 9-year-old by Canterbury, finished top 25 in Stragon at the European Championships last year, and they come forward with a score of 43.8. Now this course designed by Christian Weigand, who works under international German course designer Frank Rothenberger here in Wiesbaden, and we expect a tough challenge for our competitors. 460 meters in total, that time allowed at the moment 74 seconds. The ground jury can choose to revisit that. We'll keep a close eye on that. They have the first 3 horses to look to see if they wish to either extend it, make it a little bit tighter, or keep it the same. But Katrin Kodum-Hazrati and Cosma get us underway here in Wiesbaden. Sam Watson from Equi Ratings in the studio with me. And Sam, just talk us around the early part of this course. Exuberant jumps of the first 2.
Yeah, and you know, those first two fences, they're almost on a related distance. I reckon you could get down there on 9 strides. She took 10, and those are the types of things you'll want to pay attention to in terms of making the time. She's gone down there on 7, which is what that seems to walk. This horse is a big jumper. He's spending a lot of time in the air. He's very exuberant. He's had 5 CIC 3 stars under his belt so far, Nicole, in his career. He's only jumped once on one of those occasions, but he doesn't average many penalties. He's only averaging 2.4 jumping penalties, so you can see that the horse actually has the ability to jump a clear round.
So coming through this combination, Katrin will then have the option of either the Event Rider Masters planks, which I think she's going for, or the slightly longer alternative. She goes for the planks and gets away with it.
Yeah, again, one of those in-between distances. She did that on 9 strides. The riders will walk that and count it. It's not, you're always going to have options over a distance that long, but they'll be wanting to assess how many strides they should be going on to make the time. 6 strides down to the last, which she gets, and we have a clear round, but not inside that time.
4 time penalties for Katrin Kodum-Hazrati and Cosma, and those 4 time penalties will give her 47.8. So we're clear jumping and 4 time for the first combination to go.
And you know, my reaction to that, Nicole, is that they've got the time about right, to be honest. I think she could have been a little bit quicker, particularly from 1 to 2. She could have moved up a little bit on a couple of turns as well. That combination at fence 6, there's a sweeping turn into it and then a bit of a turn back after it as well. And this horse also spent an awful lot of time in the air, and that does add up.
Well, you did say that as well, and actually 4 seconds, or not even 4 seconds in total, but that doesn't take long to accumulate.
No, it doesn't. I think that looks jumpable. Again, we know Katrin, not a bad ride. She's been to Wiesbaden once before in the CIC 3-star. She jumped a clear round on that occasion, within the time on that occasion, but we know the Event Rider Masters, they do have a tight time to put the riders under pressure.
Well, next to come forward will be Izzy Taylor with Director General. 40.3 Izzy's starting score, and that left them in 24th position after the first phase. Izzy a little disappointed with that. This is a horse just showing a bit of inexperience at this level in a big atmosphere here in Wiesbaden, but certainly all to play for, particularly with series points with Izzy. 3rd on the podium last weekend at Chatsworth. That was with Call Me Maggie May, and meant that she had a quick change of plan, Sam, and decided to head out to leg 2 this weekend.
Yeah, she's going to be competitive. She went from 1 to 2 on that 9 strides, 1 stride less than Katrin. She was so quick around from 2 to 3 as well, that I reckon she's probably already got those 3-4 seconds in the bag. And if she can keep the poles up from here on, she could be providing us with one of our first clears and the combination.
And if she's clear, then they were a combination that were very quick on their international debut together at Belton a little bit earlier on this year in the cross country, which will pay them a lot of dividends here today.
Oh, she's just had that. She was really moving up on the turn. I think she's going to be quite comfortably inside the time, and that's going to be expensive too.
Well, 3 late poles falling for Izzy Taylor. The time is absolutely fine, but she'll be really disappointed with those 12 jumping penalties. 52.3 drops her a place on the leaderboard. Izzy Taylor and Director General 12 to add. Now, Sam, it had been a pretty impressive round up until those final 3 fences, all of which came down, and that added up very quickly.
Oh, that was a real expensive end to the course for Izzy. I think she's probably gone from feeling that a clear was within her grasp. She took that option of the plank, the Masters plank, which is a difficult fence to jump, and then as she moved around the turn to the 3rd last, she just had to squeeze the horse a little bit, and he flattened his jump, and from then on he just wasn't finishing his jump behind, and all 3 of those fences came down with the hind legs.
Well, 12 jumping proving expensive for Izzy Taylor, but if you would like to get involved at home, then make sure you've downloaded the SAP Spectator Judging app. You can vote for whoever you think is going to win. Which country do you think is going to win? Because we'll be looking at the different nations as well, and of course how many clear rounds you think there will be. Now though, we turn our attentions to Peter Flaurup from Denmark with Frankie, 38.2 their dressage, in 23rd place, but actually within 2 poles of 6th place on the leaderboard. So certainly it's a tightly packed middle bunch on that Event Rider Masters leaderboard. Peter, hugely experienced, represented Denmark at the highest level of the sport. But the first part of that combination.
Yeah, I'm afraid that is just a little bit a case of the horse not getting high enough. He touched it with his front legs. Looked like he was maybe taking his eye off the fence a little bit, looking into the distance. But you can see he's had a rub here on a couple of fences. Probably not the most careful. He's jumped 3 clear rounds at CIC 3-star before, but he's operating really only at a clear rate of 43% at this level. So wasn't one of the ones that we would have been banking on for producing a clear, but it's not a bad round. Peter working a little bit hard here, coming down the last line, looking for his 6 strides. Gonna get that a little bit tight to the last, but there we go. 1 down, inside that optimum time as well, Nicole. So it looks like it will be achievable, the clock today.
Well, the time of 74 seconds is the time allowed. Just the 1 pole down, so 42.2. Peter Flarup holds his position with Frankie here in Wiesbaden. And just the 1 pole down for them, not proving overly expensive on the leaderboard. But of course, 1 pole down in the show jumping equates to 10 seconds in the cross country. And we know that the time here in Wiesbaden is going to be influential tomorrow.
Well, it happened quite quickly, Nicole, but I'm just wondering now, reflecting on Izzy Taylor's round. She was second in. She was one of the ones we put up as a potential series favourite. And, you know, already I think we're only 3 horses into this show jumping round, but we're seeing its influence not just on this competition here today, but the repercussion that it could have over the entire series as well.
Well, news just in that our ground jury are choosing to leave the time allowed the same, so it remains at 74 seconds. Now, though, it is Ludwig's Venestall and Alcacer SP 37.5. Ludwig's Dressage in 22nd position after that first phase. Ludwig, hugely experienced, has twice been ranked inside the world's top 10. Actually finished in the top 15 individually, part of the Swedish team who won Team Silver in Stragom last year. Now, this is a horse that had a fairly eventful show jumping round at Blair, in so much as the bridle came off halfway round, and Ludwig managed to retack his horse without dismounting and continue. He'll be hoping that doesn't happen again today, Sam.
He will indeed. He's actually operating on paper at a similar clear round rate to our last horse. They've got 3 clears in CIC 3-star competitions, but again, just operating at a 43% strike rate in achieving those clear rounds. So just less than 50-50, but he's done a good job here. He's got 2 fences to go.
And actually, the time looks absolutely fine. So Ludwig's Venestall and Sweden give us our first clear round. Alcacer SP 37.5. They'll climb the leaderboard from 22nd position. I've no doubt about that, because it is very tightly packed on that leaderboard after the first phase. Sam, an impressive clear round from Ludwig.
Yeah, I think Ludwig did a good job there of managing his horse around the course there. I was wondering whether he had started off a little bit tentatively on his distance from 1 to 2, but he eased his horse into it, and then he became very efficient on his turns and his lines towards the end of the course. You can see him as he jumps the plank there. He's already got his eyes on that next fence. Ludwig, a real professional at this level, knows what his job is in that arena, and on that occasion Alcacer just obliging and really helping him out as well.
Well, next to come forward, one of 4 Australians in the field, Katja Weimann and BP Cosmopolitan. 37.2 Katja's Dressage, but cannot afford any penalties in this phase to stay ahead of Ludwig's Venestall and Alcacer.
Now, these guys do come in. They have got 6 clears. Oh, well, there we go. There's the statisticians. I was just about to say they've got 6 clears from 10 attempts, which is 60% in the CIC 3-star format, but not a clear today for Katja. So time to get the concentration back as they head down to this line. Now, we've got a vertical here, 6 strides down to the combination. They've got there on the right distance, but unfortunately having that vertical as well. Now 8 faults, that is going to be expensive.
Drops her on the leaderboard behind Peter Flarup and Frankie, as well as Ludwig's Venestall.
She's taking a little bit of time on that turn, and I think that could just put her in a little bit of trouble coming down on the clock.
Well, Katja Weimann, BP Cosmopolitan, clear the final fence. The time is just about okay, so 8 jumping, 45.2 for Katja.
Can help them do it.
Ludwig Svennestal Alcazir, first clear round of the day. You must be delighted.
Yeah, it was super in there. He's such a nice horse to ride, very careful. All you need to do is keep a good rhythm, and he's really, really clever and good.
You've got a lot of time in there in terms of space to take the turns. Were you able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think we were quite well inside the time. I thought it'd be a bit tighter than it was. But he is nearly better like that, and he's such a clever horse and very careful, and he did the job. It does it very easy for me.
Finishing on your dressage score is what every rider aims to do, so no pressure going into the cross country.
Yeah, exactly. But I think he should be good tomorrow, hopefully. It's like you see, he's very rideable, he's quite quick, he's nippy, and it's definitely enough to do tomorrow, and yeah, it's going to be a tough track.
It sounded like the ground was quite hard in there. Did you notice that?
No, I think it was beautiful. I think it was really, really fantastic. The arena is among the best I've ever ridden. A really, really good job of the organisers.
Well, and a very good job for you, Ludwig. Thank you very much and best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, Ludwig has certainly ridden in some of the best arenas in the world, so big praise from him here for the organisers in Wiesbaden, and a good clear round will see him climb that leaderboard. Now, though, attention turns to Rebecca Chiapero from Italy with Quilando Z37.1 their starting score, which leaves them in 20th position after the first phase, the dressage, which took place in front of Breabridge Palace this morning. And Rebecca will be hoping to emulate her trainer, Stefano Brecciaroli, who actually finished in the top 5 here 12 months ago. And this is a horse that is hugely experienced on Nations Cup teams for Italy, 16 years of age now, by Quinart.
Well, just the one clear round for Rebecca on her CV in this CIC 3-star format as well, so she'll be looking to add to that today. It is the same for Quilando. They've just registered that one clear before, but they've successfully negotiated the first 4 fences. That's good. She's keeping up a good tempo on the turns. I like his attitude. He's got his ears pricked looking at his fences. He's neat with his legs. Yeah, he's a game little jumper, this guy. Could be looking at a second gear. Now she's going around this. She's taken the option.
Okay, so she's taken the option, which she's well within her rights to do so, but it does take longer. So she's going to have to be confident on the clock, and I'm looking at that clock thinking she's not going to get home in 8 seconds. So she might pay the price with time penalties here.
Yeah, it's absolutely done its job. I think if she can leave this up, she'll be very happy with the clear jumping, but she's going to pay the price with now 3 time penalties.
3 time penalties. It's almost 4 penalties to risk having the planks, or 3 time penalties.
Yeah, I think you've hit that on the head, Nicole, because she was keeping up a good rhythm and a good tempo the whole way around. The horse doesn't have the biggest stride, I think I would say that, and she maybe could have been a little bit tighter with some of her turns, but her rhythm was pretty good around that course there. So I think anyone who's watched that and where they maybe are in 2 minds about the option, they're probably going to look at that and think it is an expensive option to take.
Well, we don't often see people take it, but we'll watch this space to see if riders do choose throughout the day. But if you would like to get involved with the show jumping here in Wiesbaden, then make sure you download the SAP Spectator Judging app, and you can vote on there for who you think is going to win, which nation you think is going to win, how many clear rounds we're going to have. Now, Sam, Echo Ratings put up a prediction of 7, and online, most people are expecting around 5 to 6 clear rounds. So
that's good to know that I've been a bit braver. I'm quite happy so far. We got 1 out of the first session. We've had 2 people so far leaving all the poles up but having time penalties. I'm still pretty happy.
You're still confident. Okay, we'll watch this space as next 2 come forward. Christopher Forsberg with Hippo Sapporo, owned by Mike Klimt. 36.7 there starting, scoring 19th position after the first phase. And again, cannot afford any penalties to stay ahead of Ludwig Svennestal, who is on a score of 37.5. Clear round so far.
They've had 3 attempts at this level before, and they are yet to register a clear round in this phase. They average 5.3 on the jumping penalties. He's heading down to the Event Rider Masters plank at the moment. He's cleared that well. He wants to just up the pace a little bit, I think. It's just for me a fraction under paced, and I'd be a little bit concerned about the clock again at this point.
Well, just the 2 fences left to go for Christopher Forsberg, but that clock is going to be fairly borderline, and I think that water tray has gone. So a pole down and actually 2 time penalties for Christopher Forsberg and Hippo Sapporo, 42.7, which drops them from 19th position to 22nd on the leaderboard. We can just see this here, Sam. Just catches it behind.
Yeah, I think a lot of the round was quite nice. I would be working on the overall pace, I think, particularly in between the fences, just a little bit more urgency when you're at this level, and they'll come across it again at a lot of the major events. The time is always influential at these big venues, so just keeping up that rhythm and making the turns as efficient as possible.
Well, next to come forward, it is Heel van Hoosje and Azrael, and there's a combination on a score of 36.5 from the Dressage in 18th position after the first phase, but certainly a quick clear in the show jumping without incurring any time penalties would see them put the pressure on those coming ahead of them. And Heel was one that, Sam, you thought could jump a clear round.
Well, I've looked at my numbers now, Nicole, and I'm less confident. But he's giving them a bit of air here. Now he again is another one. He's had 5 goes at this level of competition before, so plenty of experience. But he is looking for that first clear.
Now he is taking the Event Rider Masters planks. I might say that again the time is perhaps looking a little close for comfort.
And that's where we've seen riders like Ludwig and Izzy Taylor. They made the time look easy, but they are riders who ride at the top level week in, week out, and they do have a habit of deceiving us.
And the clock is going to turn red. Heel van Hoosje picking up time penalties, but jumping clear. So actually 4 time penalties to add for Heel, and he goes to a score of 40.5. Drops him a couple of places on the leaderboard. He goes behind Ludwig Svennestal and behind Quilando Z and Rebecca Chiapero. But those time penalties, Sam, we've now seen 8 combinations go and 4 of them have clocked up time penalties.
Yeah, I think in a big arena like this, it's often about that attitude from when you go through the start. You have an option straight away, whether you're going to go down there on quite a steady 10 strides or keep up on the 9. And then in all of your turns between the fences, when you're not on a related distance, you need to be thinking about saving ground with tight turns, and you need to be thinking about keeping up a good pace.
Well, next to come forward, it will be Kai Stefan Meyer and Cascaria, 36.1. They were first to go in the dressage this morning and in 17th position after the first phase. Kai, very experienced, actually based in Arville, where we will be visiting for leg 3 of the Event Rider Masters series.
So anyone looking to try and get an early pointer on what we think, they took that extra stride going down to the second fence, and the horse just looking a little bit green on some of the turns. So I would say early on in the course that the clock is definitely in play for them as well, that they'll have to keep it efficient and nippy towards the end of the course if they're to get inside this time here and keep a clean sheet. But they're jumping well.
Well, on a score of 36.1, the leader at the moment, Ludwig Svenestål, 37.5, so could afford to be picking up one time penalty, and again I think they're going to be cutting it fairly close.
I think they are. Just looked a little bit that way from the start, and then again between the planks and that fence he's just jumped, he wanted to be a little bit more efficient. It's small margins. We're going to see him probably picking up about 2 time faults. A nice clear jumping round which he'll be happy with, but those penalties, you're in an event rider masters, Nicole, you cannot add a single penalty.
And this only a 9-year-old, so perhaps giving it a good experience here in Wiesbaden as well.
Yeah, he looked a little green. Just I would have thought at fence 2 and then turning into 3, just, you know, and actually into the first fence. I think that is him going to the first fence there on your screens right now. He just had a little look, and Kai Stefan Meyer very clever to just wait with his upper body but keep his leg on. That's always crucial when you know you're not going to get there on the distance because the horse is just backed up a little bit. You've got to wait with the upper body but keep that lower leg there as well and keep reassuring the horse and make him jump. So I think he's actually done a very good job to get the clear jumping, but that clock has come into play.
Well, next to come forward is Nicholas Beschora for Germany, one of 6 Germans in the field with Tom Go 3. And 36.0 their starting score. A little disappointed with his dressage, Nick. He actually led the dressage at Blair Castle last year in leg 6 of the 2017 series. That left him in 16th position after the first phase. But
just even watching that turn there, Nicole, that's where you're going to see some of the more experienced professionals just taking probably even one less stride on that turn as well, keeping up that little bit more urgency. Nicholas doing a good job so far from the jumping point of view. They've got 2 clear rounds on their CV, but that's from 14 runs. It's only a 14% strike rate. They average 3.4 jumping penalties at this level, CIC 3 start in this short format. They're clear coming down this line, 6 strides. One there, and they're coming out now on the 2. So again, the clock is just a little bit in play. He's been quite patient. I think the time penalty is going to be very expensive here.
And the planks have gone as well. So 4 jumping so far, and he's not going to get home in 10 seconds from there. Still 3 fences left to jump. Beschora has dropped 2 places on the leaderboard with that pole down. And the clock is going to turn red, and those penalties will clock up very quickly. So he comes to the last, Nicholas Beschora, and it's going to be 8 time penalties and 8 jumping as well, 52.0. So Ludwig Svenestål is still the clubhouse leader with El Kazir, and he is the only clear round we've had so far. Sam, an equal ratings prediction of 7. Are you feeling a little ambitious at the moment?
Well, I might have wanted a clear in that session if I was being honest, Nicole, but let's take the positives. We've seen quite a few people leaving the fences up but just picking up a time fault. I think we've seen 3 clear rounds just picking up jumping penalties. So it's a jumpable track, and I think our experienced riders, and none less so than Magic Man Mickey Young, who's in the field at the moment, they'll know how to beat that clock. They'll have their ring tactics, and you just he's backed off a little bit there.
Well, this horse, only an 8-year-old, coming forward in her first attempt at this level, so perhaps a little.
And that's where I think a lot of people probably don't realize just how much leg these riders can apply without anybody noticing it. Michael, not the biggest of riders, But even though he's sitting as still as a mouse and he looks very, very quiet, you can see from how the horse backs off, but Michael's still there with the leg to reassure him and to give him a bit of confidence in this big arena.
And again, the time is ticking down pretty quickly. So Michael Young, Corazon clear so far as they head up this final line. Just the two to go as they go to the final SAP Oxa. The time is going to be very tight, and in fact it does turn red. So 2 time penalties as well. He's going to hold his position though, 36.8. So he will be the new clubhouse leader, as we're joined in our commentary studio by none other than Fredrik Bergendorf, head coach for Swedish eventing. And Fred, you must be pretty happy. So far, so good. Ludwig's currently sitting second.
Yeah, Ludwig did a great job. He's got a nice horse, and he walked the course very well here. I'm actually a bit surprised people having time penalties.
Okay.
I thought the course walked very okay, thinking of the time.
Yeah.
The time in the last class was 78 seconds. They brought it down to 74. But now we can go on an inside line as well. So I'm a little bit surprised. Now I got my last rider, Malin.
I was going to say you'll be watching Malin Josefsson with much interest, and not the best start.
Not the best start. It is a really, really talented horse. Can be very cheeky sometimes. The last thing I told her was make sure he was forward and in front of the leg before before she went in, and it didn't really look as if it was.
You'll be having a word later.
Well, a few horses have actually looked at that. Kai Stefan Meyer's horse looked at that.
Is there a big screen at the bottom end, perhaps, that perhaps takes the eye at all, or?
I don't think so. I think they're just looking at the fence. And it wouldn't surprise me if this horse jumps a really good clear round from here and onwards. It's got a fantastic technique, but it's definitely a mind of his own, as you saw a little bit.
He's a careful horse, isn't he? And there's always that border with the event horse and even the jumpers, that getting that combination between being careful enough to leave those fences up and being brave enough and not too cheeky, like we saw at that first fence.
Malin Josefsson, Alan, taking the Event Rider Masters planks. Fred, was that a team plan for all of the Swedish riders to take that inside line?
Yeah, definitely. It leaves the riders a little bit more time to just keep in a good rhythm with these tracks. And the riders are so good, so if you can ride in a rhythm and take your time, normally the fences are very jumpable.
Well, an excellent clear round in terms of the poles, but that refusal at the first fence means 4 jumping and 13 time for Malin Josefsson and Alan, and that'll
probably good I'm up here and not outside there, because she probably won't be that nice to talk to for the next 5 minutes anyway.
She probably doesn't want to hear I told you so.
Well, it is interesting, isn't it, when you think about tactics, that if you had a chance to do that again, maybe, you know, a change in tactics down to that first fence is the difference between a clear round and 17 penalties. So it was very expensive, and that's the sport.
That's the sport, but that's also why it's so important to reflect in a very good, useful way, so one can learn from these things and move on.
So at the moment, let's take a look at the leaderboard of those horses that have jumped. It is Michael Young and Corazon leading the way on 36.8 ahead of Ludwig Svenestall Elkazir, the only clear round inside the time that we've had so far, 37.5. Kai Stefan Meyer Cascaria currently sitting third on 38.1. But this man, dubbed by Equa Ratings as the fastest rider in the world, Christopher Burton, the second of our 4 Australians in the field, with Polystar 34.0 in 13th position after the first phase. A horse that has won at this level previously, Sam.
Yeah, he's won at this level. He's actually not got a huge amount of experience at this level, just 2 CIC 3-stars under his belt. He show jumped clear on both occasions. He's been doing some show jumping, I think, last season as well, just pure show jumping. I had Malin down potentially as one of my clears, and I think if Polystar can't give me a clear round, I'm going to be in trouble with my prediction of 7. So Berto, it's interesting, he's not going in a very fast canter at all, but he's ridden some incredibly tight turns.
Yeah, he's a really experienced rider, and I thought that even as him turning to the third fence, how tight he was. It'd be interesting to see if he judged this right or not. It looks quite good at the moment, I think.
I think he's going to have to...
He's going to be sneaking very close to it, to be honest.
Needs to be quick on his turn. He's got an inside line here, the same line that Michael took, but he's going to have a time fault.
Well, that is going to be a time fault. The question will be, how expensive is it? Is it going to keep him ahead of Michael Young and Corazon? 3 time penalties, and actually 37.0 drops him a place. So he goes behind Michael Young, but ahead of Ludwig Svennesdahl, goes into second of those horses that have completed at the moment. Sam, the Equa Ratings prediction.
Yeah, now I'm worried, Nicole. Now I'm worried. He really was his canter was just a really slow canter. And I mean, sometimes that's tactically, that's what you got to do. You got to be careful about pushing a horse beyond the rhythm that they're used to jumping in. But I suppose that's where the training comes in. You've got to train them at that competition canter.
That is definitely why you need to train them about where the canter is so important, to have a big enough canter when you train. Yeah, you have to be able to keep the pace up, otherwise it's just going to be difficult.
Well, 3 time penalties for Chris Burton and Polystar. They left all the poles standing, but cost them 1 place on the leaderboard. So Michael Young, Corazon leading the way as things stand. But this young lady delivered one of the 4 clear rounds last year. 33.7 their dressage this time. They're in 12th position after the first phase. Sarah, I think a little bit disappointed with her dressage this morning, but still very much here to put in a challenge for that podium. And this horse that won here 12 months ago with a fast double clear could certainly do that climb up the leaderboard. She'd need to leave the pole standing here, Sam. She's
looking for her 10th clear show jumping round in this short format at 3-star level. She's got 9 already on the CV. They're operating at a 43% clear rate as well, but they've jumped clear in this arena before. 1 appearance at Wiesbaden, which was last year.
Put a pole down here, so that's going to drop her 3 places on the leaderboard. It's going to prove expensive because she drops behind the likes of Michael Young, Chris Burton and Ludwig Svennesdahl.
Just looks like she has to ride a little bit stronger. She did the same to the first fence as well as the one she just had down there.
And he's got a cheeky drift through that right shoulder, isn't he? And I think as she tries to keep him straight, you lose a bit of power when the horse deviates.
Exactly.
Well, 3 poles down. Unfortunately, Sarah Cohen not going to be able to repeat her win of 12 months ago, but Treason, 16 years of age now, has been such a superstar for her and such a consistent horse in the Event Rider Masters series. Just going to be flirting with the optimum time, or the time allowed in the show jumping. 2 time penalties as well, and 12 jumping cost them some 9 places on the leaderboard. That's expensive, Fred.
Yeah, that is really expensive, and I mean she's done so well in these ERM classes just with that mare before, so I think she came here with high hopes.
I think a little bit like Izzy Taylor, you know, those hopes really dashed in that. It's only 74 seconds or whatever the time allowed is. It's only just over a minute, but my God, it can be a very influential minute in the overall competition.
Now, Sam, 14 combinations have gone. Actually, 10 have picked up time penalties so far.
Yeah, it is surprising me a little bit. When I saw Izzy Taylor was 4 seconds inside that time. You know, Ludwig was economical as well, and I think definitely there's been some that didn't need to have time penalties. Obviously, you look at a rider like Michael Young, he wouldn't often have a time penalty, but his horse was very green, and he was just having to give him a bit of time.
Well, Liz Halliday Sharp, Fernhill by night, next to come forward in 20th position. So into the top 10 here. Leg 2 of the Event Rider Masters in Wiesbaden. This accommodation who produced a class clear round at Blenheim in the Event Rider Masters series finale at the end of last year. That meant that they actually finished in 6th place on the leaderboard. And Fred looking very classy so far.
Yeah, it does. You see if how the time is. I think there's a real opportunity when the riders land to just ride forward for a few strides and make sure you really go in the direction towards the next fence. And I think she probably could have been a little bit more economical to start off with, but I agree with you. Technically, it's looking really good so far.
She's another to take the Event Rider Masters planks. I think she's again, Sam, going to be pretty close to that time.
You're going to be close, and you don't want to come around that tree trying to set up and look for a stride. You've got to be a little bit more confident than that. Keep rolling around the turn.
Well, she comes down to this final line, clear so far, but the time is going to be exceptionally tight. Clock turns red, and just 2 time penalty costs her a place, 35.2.
Alex Brack.
Christopher Burton on Polystar, just 3 time faults. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I'm really cross with myself, actually. Our team trainer, Nelson Pessoa, says there's no excuse for time faults. And on that horse, there's no excuse to have one down or have time faults. So I'm really kicking myself. It's not my weekend.
Polystar is relatively inexperienced at this level.
Yeah, he is. Although he has a little bit of age, he has some inexperience. And a big thanks to Tricia Rickard, who came along and bought him for me, because he's without doubt one of my favourite horses to ride.
Well, you're the fastest man in the world across the country, so we wish you the very best of luck tomorrow.
Well, thank you. We'll see how we go.
We'll keep an eye on him still to climb up that leaderboard. Now, though, it is Sam Griffiths and Happy Times, 33.2. And they're on the equal score that Liz Halliday-Sharp, Fernhill by Night were on. So Sam now has 10th place all to himself and will be looking to leave all the poles standing. Can't afford a pole to stay ahead of Liz Halliday-Sharp, who is the clubhouse leader at the moment on 35.2. And this is a horse that is at 19 years of age, has been such a campaigner for Sam over the years. Competed at the very highest level, London Olympics, World Equestrian Games as well. And one I know that Sam is delighted to have here in Wiesbaden, but an early pole, and that was a convincing pole.
Yeah, it was, and he put 1 stride more down to that second fence than he needed to, which I think's got a little bit to do with it as well. In order to get inside the time, what we're looking for is that the horses go forward on landing and in the direction they're going, and he's just taking a little bit much time at the moment.
I agree with you. We were talking about that first distance from 1 to 2, and a lot of people don't consider 9 or 10 strides to be a related distance. But when you look at the influence that the time is having on this course, you want to be getting up there on the 9 strides, set a positive approach to the first fence and keep up. And a couple have done that early on, and they were the ones that actually made the time. Izzy Taylor being a good example.
Exactly, and often fence 1, 2, and 3 are easier than what's coming at the end. So why not have the pace up from the beginning? It really makes a lot of sense.
Well, another that I think is going to be close to that time. So 1 pole down so far for Sam Griffiths, Happy Times. He can't afford a time penalty to stay in that position, so it's going to cost him places on the leaderboard too. And another pole goes at the water tray. The clock turns red, and Sam Griffiths, Happy Times, 4 time penalties and 8 jumping, 12 to add, 45.2. Costs him 9 places on the leaderboard. That is seeing that clear round from Ludwig, Fred, really climbing.
Yeah, it's getting better and better. But Ludwig did do a really good round. But also, if you walk the course and really think what kind of canter you want from the beginning, I think the time is still really doable, even though we've seen a lot of horses with time penalties.
We've got a lot of my top-rated jumpers are coming up, particularly in that last 5. I think we could have as many as 4 clear rounds in the last 5. So I'm getting very worried. I've only got 1 clear round in the bank. Thank you, Ludwig. I said there could be 7, but just such a high number of people leaving the fences up, but having a time penalty.
Well, now to come forward, it will be none other than Bill Levitt. Bill with Shannondale Titan. Bill, a huge supporter of the Event Rider Masters series, and he was telling us a little bit earlier on, actually, that Shannondale Titan really is aimed at this series, but another to have the second, Fred.
Yeah, I think they're getting there a little bit on the forehand. Bill, normally a very capable show jumping rider in the eventing world.
I was talking to Bill earlier. He had 3 time penalties in Chatsworth last weekend with this horse. And I was giving him a bit of an elbow, saying, "You're going to have time penalties again today, Bill." And he said, "No, I'm gonna work it out." And he, you can see he made the effort really early on in the course to get up, but as in doing so, that just flattened the canter a little bit. So It isn't easy jumping clear rounds at this level. Jumping the clear rounds and beating the clock, it's a challenge, and that's what the Masters is all about.
It just cost him 2 places on the leaderboard so far. But again, it is taking the pressure off those that are still to come in the top 10. And the time is again looking close.
He could. No, he's going to be very close, isn't he?
Oh,
Yeah, just outside it.
Just sneaking the 1-time penalty, but for jumping 1 time, 37.9 for Bill Levitt and Shannondale Titan. That drops him 4 places on the leaderboard. And a very good round from this horse, but unfortunately could prove a little bit too expensive, Sam.
Yeah, but I think the day that we're having now, seeing as we are getting towards the real top of the competition, and knowing how valuable these Masters classes are, Bill's still going to find himself in a position where, tomorrow there is going to be some prize money to be won and some valuable series points to put on the board.
Well, let's just take a look at that leaderboard as it stands at the moment, because out in front, Liz Halliday Sharp, Fernhill by Night on 35.2. Then it's Michael Young and Corazon on 36.8. Both of those combinations actually just picking up 2 time penalties in the show jumping. The 1 clear round so far comes courtesy of Ludwig Svenestall and El Kazir, as now it is Andreas Ossolt and Pennsylvania 28. 18 years of age now, Penny. 31.7. Her dressage in 8th position after the first phase, and a horse that's finished 3rd here in Wiesbaden. And Fred, having jumped in this big stadium before, that will be an advantage too.
Definitely, because sometimes the event horses are used to show jump in much smaller arenas, and the turn sets the horses up a little bit. So it's a different feel from riding this much space.
So 15 clear rounds for Penny on the CV at this short 3-star format. 54% is the strike rate. I've got him down as producing the 2nd clear round of the competition. So come on, Andreas. You've got 4 fences to go. You've got to keep up your canter. You're going to have to move after this plank. Keep up the canter, move.
He's actually a little bit quicker than some that we've seen, but he's still not comfortable. Down to the final fence. If he clears the last, the time should be okay. Andreas Ossolt gives us clear round number 2, just sneaking inside the time. Pennsylvania 28, 31.7. And Sam, that sets them up brilliantly for the cross-country tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we said there are dark horses, and when Andreas found out what it meant, I still think being a dark horse is it a compliment or is it not? Like, yes, we think you're going to do well today, but by calling someone a dark horse, it's saying, but you know, you see you're going under the radar. No, I think these guys, they've got really good form here. They've been 3rd at Wiesbaden before, and they were quick on the cross-country course back in 2016 when they got that 3rd place. And knowing the layout of the course, are big contenders to walk away here with some nice prize money.
Well, Andreas Ossolt gives us clear round number 2, and he looked like he shaved as much time as possible, and he was just marginally inside.
Yeah, and I think he had to, because again, I thought he started slower than he could.
Well, next to come forward, it is Tim Price. Tim on the hunt for some series points here in Wiesbaden. Seketinka for owner Joanne Pullen, and 31.4 their starting score. In 7th position after the first phase. And Tim actually won Buccolo on this horse last year. Jumped very well at both Barbary and Blair last season. Finished 6th at Barbary in the Event Rider Masters and 5th at Blair Castle. And Tim, if he could see another top 10 position here, would put himself in good reckoning. And he really took no chances there, Fred, did he, to that second?
No, he was very safe. His turn tight here, but he's going to have to. So again, he hasn't really set off, but such an experienced rider with a horse he knows well.
So his pace has been a little bit on the conservative side, probably not as quiet as Chris Burton was. He's taken the extra stride from 1 to 2, but he's being clever and efficient on his turns. But he's had that oxer, He'll be disappointed with that, and it is going to be expensive up at this end of the leaderboard as well. 4 penalties, that's going to translate to 10 seconds when we go into the cross country tomorrow. So really, really valuable penalties and translating to valuable places on that leaderboard. His time is going to be, I think, just about okay. He's taking this on a little bit of an angle, which is, I suppose, if you trust your horse to be careful enough, is quite a clever tactic there.
Well, Tim Price, Sekatinka, clears the last and sneaks just inside the times. That one pole down cost them a couple of places on the leaderboard, 35.4, and they actually drop behind Andreas Ossolt and behind Liz Halliday-Sharp, but go ahead of Michael Young. So a couple of places. I think, Sam, he'll be pretty disappointed with that pole, in so much as this a horse that could really challenge for a top finish here with a speedy round cross country.
Yeah, it was there. He put some points on the board last week in Chatsworth for the Masters. He's someone with a string of horses. He's got one of the best strings of horses in the world, actually, Tim. He's number 3 in the world. He's a competitive man. They're here for a reason. They were in Chatsworth for a reason, and that reason is to be competitive in the Masters. So any penalties added are expensive.
And the one thing I would say is this mare will really suit Wiesbaden, the twisty-turny nature of the cross-country track. She's very manoeuvrable, she's quick, she's nimble, so don't discount Tim to climb up that leaderboard still. Well, next to come forward it is for Belgium, Karen Donkers with Chris Stone's Jalapeno, and it actually looked like the first fence went, Fred.
Already a fence down. Didn't really see the way she started and why the back rail came down there.
She's had 4 runs at this level with the mare, and looking for that first clear round in the show jumping phase is not going to come today, so it now probably turns a little bit to education, but she's in a competitive position as well, so if she can keep limited to 4 penalties in the jumping phase, she's still going to be in a very good position.
Yeah, I think one down, you still think of the competition, still ride as plan A, and I think she's kept a good canter up.
It must feel like an exceptionally long course, Fred, when you've had the first.
Very. But if you're a good rider, you know how to just put that behind you and just ride what you're doing at the moment, and they just deal with that afterwards.
A brilliant turn from Karen around there. She stayed soft with the hand. She kept the canter up. She's going to be close to the clock, but potentially just sneaking inside, is she?
Just inside, only just one pole down, and 34.6 for Karen Donkers and Jalapeno. Cost them 1 place on the leaderboard, but that's it. So one of those 2 clear rounds. Let's go to Hannah.
Andreas Osholt, our second clear round of the day. Congratulations, you must be delighted.
Yeah, I'm really glad. I have such a great old mare. She jumps beautifully, and I know she's jumping really good, and she's careful and everything, so that makes it easy.
The time is very tight in this arena, isn't it?
Yeah, I realized after the event, Riders Masters jump, I realized I had 54 on the clock. So I was knowing there it's good to have 50, 52, so I was a little bit chasing on the last fences to catch up the time, and luckily I just got it.
You've got a little bit of a secret weapon at home, haven't you, to help you with your show jumping?
Yeah, I mean, I have Hans-Günther Winkler, the former show jumper. He's still supporting me in the jumping, and I'm on his yard and living there and having there my horses, so yeah, it's always good to have all this old knowledge and this support.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Well, next to come forward is one of the most experienced combinations in the field. They won Lemulen 4-star last year. They're former winners here in Wiesbaden as well. It is Julia Krajewski and Samurai Duto. 28.3 their starting score. And in equal fourth after the first phase. And Julia, well, this horse has actually jumped clear a couple of times here previously. Sam, you need to start getting some clears on the board to keep your Equa-Ratings prediction going.
Well, I said 7. I've got to. There's only 5 left, so I need them all to jump clear.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. This horse will jump clear, so they've got 9 runs at CIC 3-star level, 8 clears. I know I don't want to sound like my co-founder Dermot Byrne when he gets all excited and says they're guaranteed to jump clear, but these guys are as good a jumpers you're going to see in the sport.
And there you see Julia starting off in a really good canter.
She started off pretty positively.
Yeah, and I think that's just the way you want to ride this course. You do have the time to jump all the jumps properly later on in the course.
When you've got a good jumper like that, you feel much better rocking up on that bigger distance. You know, particularly that vertical at fence 2. We've seen it come down a couple of times when riders have tried to be brave and keep up on the bigger canter.
But here, if you move forward when you land, you've got time to work with the jump, and that comes up. So you can a little bit have best of both worlds jumping in that kind of way.
I think she's going to be very comfortable on the clock because she's had better canter, she's had good turns.
She's certainly one of the quickest that we've seen. She takes the Event Rider Masters planks, and she would certainly be comfortable on the clock as she comes round the corner. So Julia Krajewski, Samurai Duto, will they be clear round number 3? This accommodation that have won here previously. Julia was on the podium here 12 months ago. That was with Chipmunk, and she's aiming for the same again here in 2018. Julia Krajewski, Samurai Duto, and 28.3. That puts them right in the hunt.
Yeah, never in doubt, was it, Nicole? I was happy with that one, and I just love the smile on Julia's face. I love the smile on Sam's face, to be honest. He loves his job. He's an out-and-out jumper. We were looking at him in the dressage, and we said, even though he's producing such lovely flat work, he looks more like a jumper and a horse who wants to go quick on the cross-country too. So.
And Fred, it was one of those rounds whereby it didn't really look in doubt. She was quick, she was comfortable and clean.
No, because what happens when most riders ride in a faster pace, they find it difficult to keep the horses in balance, and that's what she is so good at. She can ride at a bigger pace with very good balance, which makes it easy.
Well, the pressure now turns to Janelle Price. Cloud Dancer, owned by the Marley and Me syndicate, 28.3 on the same score as Julia. They cannot afford a penalty to hold their position. And this is a horse that actually has been on an Event Rider Masters podium previously. That was in Blenheim in 2016, and the second goes again.
Gone. I don't know if it was a little bit far off it or just looked at it a little bit. Otherwise, it looked good.
Well, one pole cost them a couple of places on the leaderboard, so it's not the end of the world. 32.3 would still stay well in touch. Just dropped behind Julia Krajewski and Andreas Ossolt.
So just a 1 clear from 4 attempts previously at this level in this format of competition, but they only average 4 jumping penalties. So hopefully, if they're going to stick to their stats, they've added their 4 and they've added 1 more. So it's 8 faults so far.
Now again, that one does prove costly. So she drops 5 places on the leaderboard in total, 36.3.
Starting to create a little bit of breathing room for the top few. Obviously, Julia's put in a very good round, and she's in the 20s and is going to be putting it up to the leaders.
Time is going to be tight as well for Janelle Price, Cloud Dancer, as she comes down to the final SAP Oxa. I think she's just going to sneak a time penalty, and the last goes as well. So that is expensive. 12 jumping and 2 time cost them 13 places on the leaderboard. That's got to hurt, Fred.
Yeah, that's got to hurt a lot. That's such a lovely horse and obviously a fantastic rider. But that is what, when the time's tight, what that does to these horses and riders. It is difficult to ride in balance.
Well, Janelle Price and Cloud Dancer dropping down the leaderboard, but Julia Krajewski, Samurai Duto were climbing that leaderboard. They will be no worse than 4th as they go forward to the cross country. But still, 3 more combinations to come forward to jump here in Wiesbaden, leg 2 of the Event Rider Masters. And if you're just tuning in, then joining me in the studio, Fredrik Bergendorf, head coach for Swedish eventing, and also Sam Watson from Echo Ratings. But now it is the reigning Dutch national champion, Tim Lips, and his longtime campaigner, Byro, 27.7, and again, cannot afford a penalty to stay ahead of Julia Krajewski.
Well, Tim has jumped in this arena with Byro before, and they were clear in the show jumping on that occasion. They've got 7 clear rounds at this level of competition already under their belts. That's coming at a 78% clear jumping rate. That is a very, very clinical, very good clear show jumping rate for this level of competition. So one of the better jumpers in the field, and looking good so far.
Yeah, he's jumping really good at the moment. He's a rider with choose 10 strides to the second fence again, so hopefully he's experienced enough to know and to keep these lines tight. See what happens with the time when we get towards the end of the course. Jumping is looking very good. It's a difficult thing to say just to say jumping through the combination. Yeah, still good.
Tim, an experienced rider just in pure jumping as well. He does a lot of jumping. I'd expect him to take quite a tight turn here and come in quite tight to the ox, or maybe a little bit of an angle. No, he's going to get square. He's going to be very close to the clock.
Well, he's clear of the penultimate. I think the clock might just be okay. Tim Lips and Byro sneaks inside, and it is clear round number 4 that goes to the Netherlands, 27.7, and Tim assures himself a podium place going forward to the cross country, Sam.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that I'm gonna that Tim Price might have just caused me to make a mistake here, because I was saying to you earlier that there could be 6 clear rounds. We've had 4, we've got 2 to come. 2 of the better jumpers in the field. When Tim gave his interview before, and he thought it could have been a hole bigger, that he's seen it a couple, these tracks a couple of holes bigger in the past. So, but it's very much been reflected. We have seen quite a few rounds where they've jumped clear, but they've just been beaten by the clock.
Yeah, I think the course builder's done a really good job here.
Yeah, it's a good number. It's going to end up at around 25%, a quarter of the field, and that's quite a good number to just have 1 in 4. It allows the best to shine through and gain an advantage.
Well, next to come forward, it is Oliver Townend with Sally-Ann Eggington's Kilner-Braden Evo. This a horse that's won 2 Event Rider Masters legs previously. That was Gatcombe and Blair in 2016. Finished 2nd in the series finale at Blenheim in 2016 as well. Missed 2017. So this the horse's first international run since that very good run of form in the Event Rider Masters, and 22.8. If they can jump clear, they will put the pressure on Ingrid Klimke.
Yeah, I think one of the best jumpers that we've got. Oliver's not had a rail down with this horse. The horse has jumped 9 times at this level of competition. He's gone clear in 7 of those, averaging just 0.5 of a jumping penalty. So one rail down, he's touched the combination, so he's had his little bit of luck.
Yeah, and the real difficulty with this course has been the time, and Oliver started off in a really good canter, so hopefully that should be okay.
Yeah, I think he's plenty of time to get home now, and as you said earlier, if you do that work early on and you set off in a good rhythm, you have time to keep the horse together coming down.
Well, Oliver Townend, Kilner-Braden Evo, put the pressure on Ingrid Klimke. She cannot afford a penalty. 22.8. They're going to be in at least 2nd position going forward to the cross country, and they retain that exceptional show jumping rate, Sam.
They do indeed. These two, this combination, they really come alive in the Masters. They were 2nd at Blenheim in 2016 when they won the series, but crucially they had 2 wins in ERMs before that, at Gatcombe and at Blair. They love this format of the competition.
And they're going to have time in hand ahead of Tim Lips and Byro. But of course, all eyes turn to this lady, Ingrid Klimke and SAP Hailbob OLD. The hot favourites for the home nation here this weekend. And the majority of people on the SAP Spectator Judging app voting overwhelmingly, over 70% voting for Ingrid to be the winner here this weekend. She needs a clear round in the show jumping to stay ahead of Oliver Town and cannot even afford a time penalty. 22.2, Ingrid Klimke, SAP Hailbob OLD. All eyes in Germany turn to the lady who knows this arena so well.
Well, Nicole, we've seen the world's #1, #2 and #3 all jump in this arena this afternoon. Now we're looking at the reigning European champion, Ingrid Klimke, SAP Hailbob. They're good in this phase, but their stats say they're 50-50. She's got work to do on this course. She's going to have to keep these rails up if she's going to stay in the lead.
Is she okay on time, Fred?
Well, I think so. She went 10 strides to the second fence as well, but she got a little bit more action in the canter. And I would guess she is aware of what she's doing. She's seen everyone go. She knows the lines to get around here. I'd be surprised if she has a time penalty.
Ingrid Klimke, SAP Hailbob OLD, coming to the Event Rider Masters planks, and the time is looking okay for them. So 3 fences left to go. Time is in fact looking reasonably comfortable. Just got to leave the fences standing. They head down the final line. Ingrid Klimke, can she hold on to the lead here in Wiesbaden? Just the last, the SAP Oxa, which she clears. She's inside the time. She's a master under pressure, 22.2, and she will be our leader going into the cross country. Fred, pure class once again.
Really good, and she's so organized. You see her doing all the best lines from start to finish. She didn't waste any time anywhere, had the horse very much under control. Actually, Bob looked a little bit keen from time to time, but all good at the end.
Yeah, Bobby enjoying his job in the arena there. I think that is one of the rounds that the rest of the competitors will be thinking that's going to be a difficult lady to pass now. They've got form around Wiesbaden. They've got form all around the world. You are looking at one of the hottest combinations in the world in this sport right now.
He knows he's a superstar as well, doesn't he?
They do. The good horses do, and again, you love to see them. He's 14 years of age. He's already won a 4-star. He's got an awful lot on his CV already. But still, in this, the great thing about this sport is there could be many years left.
Yeah, and especially if you really look after the horses and feel what's right for them at the time, which no doubt Ingrid would when you got a horse like that. He could have many years left in him.
And in fact, Ingrid classed on the SAP Spectator Judging app as one of the most stylish riders of the day with over an 85% style mark. Reigning European champion, most stylish of the day, and going into the cross country in the lead here. Sam, we didn't quite get you 7 clear rounds, but we were pretty close in the end.
Yeah, we got the 6, and I was actually surprised with the number of clear jumping rounds that we had. The clock was definitely in play. It was achievable, and we saw a lot of the more experienced riders make a good job of it. But I think it was a really well built course because it wasn't guaranteed to jump a clear, and having the time as tight as they did, I think was absolutely the right thing because it made the riders ride efficiently.
Well, watch this space because it is going to be an exciting afternoon tomorrow afternoon for the cross country. And one man, well, he's got so much experience of the Event Rider Masters podium. He's in second pole position for Ingrid Klimke. But Oliver, hot on her heels, Hannah.
He certainly is hot on Ingrid's heels. Oliver, a fantastic round. You must be delighted.
Yeah, very delighted, highly delighted. He's normally reliable in this phase. I've never had a fence down on him in the ring yet. It's obviously going to happen at some stage, unfortunately, and he was quite low in places today, but they all stayed up, so happy.
I think you've competed at this level 10 times on him, and you've had 8 clears on that. So, I mean, amazing statistics.
He's had to clear every time. He's never had a fence down, but yeah, statistics are good at the minute. I'm not sure I'll keep it up, but couldn't be happier. And fantastic ring, fantastic venue, and riding a nice horse in it, you can't beat it.
You've got a lot of competition in the way of Ingrid Klimke. What can you do in the cross country to get that top spot on the podium?
Look, all I can do is concentrate on my horse's performance and try and keep us both in one piece and be as swift as we possibly can, and leave it up to Ingrid to see if she can chase us home.
Well, we missed out on Kilnabrado even last year in 2017. It's great to have you both back.
Yeah, no, and I just love riding him in these events. You know, as you've seen, the dressage is getting smarter. He's a clear round machine, touch wood so far, and we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Okay, very best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Well, we know that Oliver can be quick on the cross country. Sam, he's going to have Ingrid will have a second in hand ahead of him. If Oliver can go fast and clear, that's going to pile the pressure on.
Yeah, it will. It will be interesting to look at Oliver's tactics. He said there that he's going to concentrate on his own job, and I think that's the right attitude. I think when you try and force the issue a little bit, that's when the mistakes can creep in. We've actually seen that in the show jumping today, the influence of the clock, one or two people making mistakes they might not have made otherwise. That's going to be the same on cross country too.
Well, the lady that he will be putting the pressure on is Ingrid Klimke, and she's with Hannah.
Thanks, Nicole. Yes, Ingrid, congratulations. An awesome round.
He was very excited. When I came in, he was shaking and thought, now we go for it. Is it already cross-country day? So I had to really make sure that he listens to my half faults, but he was very clever, clear, and it was really fun because he's full of himself.
You were at the top spot going into the dressage or coming into the show jumping. You're still at the top spot. Can you hang on to that top of the podium spot?
For sure. I definitely will go fast tomorrow from the beginning on because I know how difficult it is to get the time. But I'm very sure that Ollie is fast too. I know that. So it will be a very interesting sport tomorrow for the spectators.
Okay, well, very best of luck. Thank you, Ingrid.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, all to play for Ingrid across the country tomorrow. How brilliant would it be to see the home favourite take the title here in Wiesbaden? SAP Halebob OLD leads the way on that exceptional score of 22.2. Oliver Townend, we've just heard from him. Kilnabrad and Evo, 22.8. Hot on Ingrid's heels. She'll have just a second on the cross country in hand over Oliver. The reigning Dutch national champion Tim Lips in third, and of course a former winner here, Julia Krajewski. Samurai Duto, that super clear round, 28.3 in fourth. A little bit further down the order, Tim Price, Sekatinka, they'll be ruining that pole down, but still well placed to climb the leaderboard. And a huge climb at some 11 places for Ludwig Svenestall, El Kazir, 37.5, that sixth clear round. A little bit further down, Heel Van Hoosje Azrael, just a solitary rail down for them. And disappointment for Sarah Cohen, 3 poles and 2 time penalties for Sarah, and as well for Izzy Taylor, Director General, in 25th position after the first 2 phases. But of course, we head our attentions into the cross country tomorrow. Now, just a word on the cross country. Freddie, it's a very unique challenge here in Wiesbaden, isn't it? Like a racetrack almost.
It is, and it's turning and twisting all the time. It's something we probably never experienced anywhere else. But it's really exciting, and also with all the people coming to watch, makes it an absolute fantastic afternoon.
They're very excitable, aren't they?
Yeah, unbelievable, yeah. Really excitable. It makes it like a fantastic afternoon.
And they're going to be getting behind that home favourite. Ingrid Klimke will be last out on course. They're going to be right behind her.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I would wanted Ludwig Svenestall to be a little bit higher up the board and maybe have a chance. But if you look from the whole competition, to have a winner from the same country as where you compete that's probably a nice thing. So let's see what you can do.
Particularly here in Germany. Sam, it's a tight track. It's a twisty track. That means the time is going to be tough here.
Yeah, the time has not been achieved in the last 2 years here at Wiesbaden. It was 2015. The last time they beat the clock. It's going to be very influential. Those 2 out in front, they have a nice cushion, but neither of them guaranteed a clear round. Even Ingrid, who is one of the best in the world, on one of the best horses in the world, when the pressure is on, anything can happen. Oliver Townend as well, Kilnabrad and Evo, experience in the Event Rider Masters, good form, but again, jumping clear on that cross-country round. We only saw 55% of the clear actually jumping clear on cross-country day last year. So tomorrow it's going to be more drama again, more excitement, more adrenaline. I can't wait for it. So have a good night's sleep if you can and join us tomorrow.
One question for you. Can Ingrid stay on top of the podium come tomorrow night?
She is. She'll be a clear favourite for me. I think absolute top class. I think one of the horses with the biggest engines in the field. Horseway Halebob. He loves to gallop. SAP Halebob. He's going to be one to beat.
Well, Sam, thank you very much. We've loved having the Echo rating stats. We'll be expecting more of the same tomorrow. Fred as well, thank you. I know that you'll be watching Ludwig tomorrow. Is he going to kick on cross country and climb into that top 10?
when normally he likes to ride fast, and so I say he's somewhere there in the top 10 by the end of tomorrow.
Well, fingers crossed, because it is all to play for here in Wiesbaden. We hope you've enjoyed an epic day of action here. Leg 2 of the Event Rider Masters. The Queen of Wiesbaden, Ingrid Klimke, is out in front. Will it be a German winner here in Germany? Well, I'm sure the home crowd will be behind her every second of the way, but so will Oliver Townend, because she has only a second in hand ahead of him in the cross country. One thing is for certain, you are not going to want to miss any of the action. So tune in, eventridermasters.tv. We will be live with all of the action for you at 15:10 Central European time. That's at 14:10 British summertime. Make sure you tune in. Ingrid Klimke, will 2018 be her year?